This is Silverstone F1 circuit, and I'm going to be building this entire circuit using only Lego.
It's lights out and away we go!
So starting out, I'm grabbing my hoover and hoovering my base plate because it's absolutely minging as always. And then now I'm placing some bricks on top of a plate and they're all mismatched and look awful. But I am going to cover them up with more plates like I explained in the last video. I do this technique called Mills plating to make sure my plates are nice and sturdy. And it also will make the track modular so it's easy to take apart, transport and move about, because I will need to move again into another bigger space because this track is insanely big. So now I'm starting work on my next grandstand, and the main goal with this grandstand is to make it so much better than the last one. And the last one was really awful. It was super wobbly, breaks apart way too easily, so I need to make something much stronger this time, as you can see I'm doing here. So this one should be a lot better, and now that I figured out the technique for it, it's nice and strong. I just need to rinse and repeat on each level, but it is really part intensive. I'm using so many light bluish grey parts, only using lots of 2x6 and 2x8 bricks and 8x8 plates, and of course all the supports that you've seen me put in so far and the ones still to be put in. Now luckily a lot of the parts I've been using for this I've got off the pick a brick wall, which has been really handy and obviously saved a lot of money. Did start to run out of support, so as you can see I did have to place a couple of dark colour ones in there, but I've hidden them away. And now I'm pretty much finished with the outside layer of this. I just need to do all of the supports and make sure it's supported at the back as well as the front and in the middle. And you can see I've even added a couple of empty seats. So most of these grandstands will connect together and I'll have stairwells going into them and accessing them. But now I'm happy with my final design for my grandstands. I'll rebuild the original one and then add more down the line. So as you can see now, there's been a big change in light and I've completely changed the room around. As it's been a long time since I was building, I was waiting on loads of parts from Bricklink, but I have them now, so I can continue this green strip down the side of the track first and building up the concrete barriers on the side of the track again. Because as we all know how safe these big fences are at Silverstone.
I think you have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
So as I'm continuing down with the advertising boards, I will get these either custom stickered or custom printed in the future to make them look more realistic. So if you want to sponsor the track, please do let me know, because this is literally the most expensive thing I've ever done ever. Like, this project is literally making any expensive Lego set look really cheap. So now I'm making sure that the fence is nice and secure along the side of the track, ready for the team pit walls to be put in, but maybe I won't make it quite so strong in front of Red Bulls.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
So now I'm finishing up the gravel traps, as I had a couple of gaps in them still, before going back to the tyre barriers and fixing up the wall around them. And now I'm back to adding more fences to make sure that cars can flip nice and safely into them and get trapped in their cars. And again, these are quite wobbly, so I have to make sure that I add in some supports along the top to keep them nice and sturdy so they don't move around too much. And now the camera's flipped over, I'm going to start working on the pit lane. So the first thing to do is start placing more plates on top of plates, and I'm going to be doing this all the way down the track because the pit lane is going to be at least this long. So far I reckon I've used at least 1,000 of these 2x2 bricks. Luckily I have great supply from my local pick a brick wall, and I've also ordered some for really cheap from Bricklink before, but I reckon I'm going to use at least 20,000 of these by the time I finish this build. Currently the whole build is sat on 8 large grey 48x48 base plate. I'm not exactly too sure how many of these it's going to be by the end of the build, but I reckon it's going to be at least 40 of them by the end, because I'm going to be building the entire circuit, including all the twists, the turns and loads of grandstands from start to finish. And since we're not too far from the finish line of this video, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel to make sure that you receive updates on me building the track. So as you can see here, I'm starting to put in a wall, and this will be for the pit wall, so it's slightly raised up against the level of the pit lane so the team bosses can overlook their mechanics. And now I'm just quickly gonna finish up this wall, and then I'll take you on a flyby of the track so you can see how much progress we made in this episode. So this is how the track is now looking. Got quite a lot more done, got all the fencing down here, started the tyre barriers, need to finish off that gravel texture all the way down, and the last thing we was doing was starting the pit lane, ready to have the team pit walls up this side and then the pit boxes all down here.